Welcome to the Maryland Means Business Podcast.
Cal, I feel like I say this every week, but it's a genuinely good week to be running a business in this state.
You keep saying it because it keeps being true. Today's rundown actually has a shape to it, Chessie. Small companies growing fast, a mid-sized jobs win on the Eastern Shore, and one very large headquarters bet to close it out.
Small, medium, large. I like that. Where do we start?
At the small end, and I mean that loosely because the growth numbers are anything but small.
Now you have my attention. Go.
Inc. 5000 just released its 2026 list of the fastest growing private companies in the country, and 120 of them are Maryland companies.
120. Okay, hot take. That number deserves way more attention than it gets every single year it comes out. That's not a fluke. That's a pattern.
Quick translation for anyone who hasn't followed this list before. Inc. magazine ranks private companies by revenue growth over a set window. This year, it's 2022 through 2025. It's not about size, it's about speed. A 5-person company that tripled can outrank a household name.
Which is exactly why it's a better barometer than a lot of the bigger rankings. It's telling you where the momentum actually is, not just who's already large.
9 of those Maryland companies cracked the national top 500 out of the full 5,000. Montgomery County led the state for total companies on the list, then Howard County, then Anne Arundel.
Give me the one that made your jaw drop, Cal. I know you have one.
Insight Build, a construction company out of Salisbury, ranked 28th nationally, 8,266% growth.
Say that number again, slower.
8,266%, over 8,000% growth. A construction company on the Eastern Shore just posted numbers you'd expect from an app that went viral.
I want to sit with that for a second because construction doesn't usually get to be the flashy story. It's permits, it's crews, it's material costs. Growing that fast in that industry means somebody figured out how to scale the boring, hard parts, not just win more bids.
That's exactly it. You can't fake that kind of growth in a business where every job still needs actual people on actual sites. It's not a subscription number going up on a dashboard.
And it's not only tech chasing curbs like that anymore either. Who else made the top of the list?
Upshift HR out of Burtonsville, an HR company, 2,670% growth. Polished Technologies and Chevy Chase, IT services, 2,666%.
An HR company growing that fast tells you something too. Businesses are hiring enough and getting complicated enough that they need real help managing people. That's a downstream signal of a healthy economy, not just an upstream one.
That's a fair read. And here's my hot take on top of yours. Every one of these companies is almost certainly fighting the same problem right now, finding enough good people fast enough to keep up with their own growth.
Which is a much better problem to have than the alternative, but it's still a real one. If you're a business owner watching a competitor grow like this, the lesson isn't just chase the growth. It's plan your hiring pipeline before you need it, not after.
And the median across all 120 Maryland companies was 116% growth from 2022 to 2025. That's not one outlier dragging the average up. That's a whole state of businesses compounding at once.
That's my favorite part, honestly. It's construction, HR, IT services, financial services, government services, spread across industries.
Which tells me this isn't one sector having a moment. It's Maryland having a moment. If you're a small business owner listening right now wondering whether this is a big company story, it isn't. Most of these are exactly the size you are, or close to it.
Okay, from fast-growing small companies, let's go somewhere that doesn't get enough airtime on this show, the Eastern Shore.
Salisbury. Amazon is opening a last-mile delivery station in Wicomico County.
For anyone who doesn't live and breathe logistics, last mile just means the final hop. It's not the giant warehouse where everything gets sorted. It's the smaller local hub that preps packages and hands them off to actual drivers for the last few miles to your door.
Right, and this one's working with local independent drivers and small businesses who handle that actual delivering. It's not replacing the local economy. It's plugging into it.
Which matters a lot more on the Eastern Shore than it would in a place like Columbia or Rockville. Rural delivery has always been the expensive, unprofitable part of the map for a lot of logistics companies. Getting a real hub out there instead of getting skipped over is a genuine win for anybody running a business in Wicomico County who ships or receives anything.
Good point. It's easy to forget how much a business on the shore pays in time and cost just to get things in and out compared to a business 20 minutes from the Beltway.
That's the part I always want to make sure people hear. A hub like this doesn't just create warehouse jobs. It creates work for the local courier who gets a delivery contract, the mechanic who services those vans, the diner down the street that gets a lunch rush it didn't have before.
And it's not small on jobs, even if the building itself is. Over 100 direct and indirect positions once it's fully up and running.
David Ryan, who runs Salisbury Wickacomy Economic Development, put it simply. He said they welcome Amazon, and they value the investment, the jobs, and the opportunities it creates for residents and businesses alike.
I appreciate that it's not being oversold either. Nobody's calling this a game changer for the whole Eastern Shore economy. It's 100 solid jobs in a place that could use them, and that's plenty on its own.
This one's also been in the works for about 2 years, so it's not a snap decision. It's part of Amazon's $4 billion push to build out delivery in rural areas nationwide, and the Eastern Shore just got its piece of that.
I'll take it. I love a story that isn't Baltimore or Montgomery County for once. Salisbury gets its own headline this week, and honestly, it should get more of them.
Noted for the record. What's next?
Chessie, you're going to like the last one for a different reason. This one has a number.
Don't tell me. Are we saving the biggest one for last again?
I didn't say anything.
You didn't have to. Let's hear it.
Cloudforce, the AI company based at National Harbor, is doubling down, literally. They're leasing another 15,000 square feet, which roughly doubles their headquarters footprint.
What do they actually build?
Nebula One, an AI platform built for secure, governed access to AI models. Here's the plain English version. A university or a company wants to let people use AI tools, but they don't want sensitive data leaking out to whatever service someone happens to sign up for. Cloudforce sits in the middle and controls that access.
So it's less about building a new AI and more about making the AI everyone's already using safe enough to actually deploy at scale.
Exactly, and the client list backs that up. University of Maryland uses it, so do UCLA, London Business School, and Oxford.
That's a serious client list for a Prince George's County company. And honestly, hot take, that's the real AI story right now for most businesses. It's not who has the flashiest model, it's who can let their people actually use these tools without creating a data problem they'll regret later.
That tracks with what I hear from owners, too. Everybody wants the productivity. Almost nobody's confident they've got the guardrails right, which is exactly the gap Cloudforce is filling.
Not a bad advertisement for Maryland talent either. When a company with that kind of client list decides National Harbor is where it wants to grow instead of somewhere with a flashier zip code, that's worth pointing out every time it happens.
Agreed. Prince George's County doesn't always get called the tech corridor, but stack this next to everything else landing there lately, and the pattern's getting hard to ignore.
Okay, give me the jobs number. I know you've been saving it.
And here's the number you're waiting for. They're keeping their whole existing team, more than 130 people, and adding 250 new Maryland jobs over the next 5 years.
250. There it is.
The CEO, Hussein Sharaf, had a great line about why they didn't just move somewhere flashier when they had the chance to grow anywhere. He said, quote, "We chose to double down here instead because we'd rather strengthen the place that helped build us."
I love that. Loyalty as a business strategy. And it's paying off for both sides. That's the kind of line I'd put on a wall.
The state's kicking in $1.25 million through Advantage Maryland. Prince George's County is adding another $125,000, and Cloudforce also qualifies for the state's job creation tax credit.
Governor Moore's office again. We really do need that counter on the wall we keep joking about.
At this point, it might just be a permanent fixture of the show.
So that's the range this week. 120 companies growing fast across every industry. Salisbury quietly picking up 100 jobs, and Cloudforce doubling its home base with 250 more on top of that.
Different sizes, same underlying story. Maryland businesses betting on themselves, and the bets are paying off. From a construction crew in Salisbury to an AI platform at National Harbor.
Before we go, 2 quick things. First, our sponsor.
Maryland Smart Energy. Smarter buildings, smaller bills. They help Maryland businesses cut their energy costs through utility-funded programs with nothing out of pocket to get started.
Through September, that includes HVAC tune-ups at no out-of-pocket cost, fully funded by Empower Maryland. You're already paying into that program through the line on your utility bill. Might as well put it to use before the summer's done.
Find them at mdsmartenergy.com. And since we're on the subject of energy, this show is made almost entirely with AI, and we chose tools from companies that cover their own energy and grid costs instead of pushing them onto your household or your business. Same idea as our sponsor. Keep the costs where they belong.
Every claim you heard today is sourced and linked in our show notes.
Find us wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, and now on YouTube if you'd rather watch than listen.
And head to marylandmeans.business for the newsletter so you never miss stories like these. And remember, Maryland means business.